Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the part number National Guard Products 133NA is what this is. This is a piece of perimeter gasketing is really where you would see this. I wouldn't really consider it an astragal at all. I would consider it certainly a piece of perimeter gasketing. And the reason I wouldn't really use it as an astragal, although it could be, is that it really wouldn't work well in a split astragal scenario. A split astragal just means where you have two pieces of material mounted on each door. You've taken the astragal and you've split it. An astragal would be applied to, let's say, a pair of hollow metal doors. And there are different types of astragal shapes, really. And they're different because their applications will change. Where they're mounted, how they're attached, where they're attached to the door, what part of the door they make contact with. Well, when you're talking about a split astragal, the weather stripping can still be an astragal, but you're generally going to have one on each door. Pile would be good, or maybe some sort of silicone that would be a very thin, tapered, thin shape, so they make nice contact. A piece of block material like this, even though this is open cell neoprene, sponge neoprene, it wouldn't be real flexible. But you could certainly use it as an astragal. Let's imagine that you applied it to the pull side. You applied it to the pull side of the active door, and every time that door closed, you would make contact with the face of the other door. Or conversely, if your door swung in, now you're on the inside. Okay, let's say that you have a right-hand active. I could mount it on the exterior so that every time the active door closed, I would make contact with that. You could use it for that, and because it's sponge neoprene, it would sure be effective at retarding the transmission of temperature. It's not going to do real great with water because it's sponge, but it would be pretty good with sound attenuation as well because it is a sponge-type material. So the 133 is representative of this profile. This profile measures 1 5/16. It's a little shy on that, by 1/4 inch thick. And I'm going to, oh, pardon me, they're not giving us the thickness of the aluminum. The sponge is a 1/4 inch. With the aluminum insert, it's probably going to be pushing 3/8. Yeah, well, yeah, 7/16, right in that range. This is clearly just a 6-inch sample piece is all that this is for purposes of this video. This would be very effective perimeter gasketing. The jambs, the header, making contact with your door. It's reasonably supple or compressible. When I lay my finger on it, it will give you an area. It will give you the impression that it does compress ever so slightly, but not too much so. And again, extreme temperatures, this would be great, and then sound attenuation. If you know it's going to get wet, you'll want a closed cell neoprene, one that's not sponge-like. This is held on with just adhesive, and that would be typical. Because this is a sample piece, we don't see the slotted hole that's here. If this was the genuine article, you'd have a slotted hole and then so many down as the length went. Generally, when it comes to the quantity of holes, you'll have one more than the quantity of feet in the length. So if you had a 3-foot header, you'd probably have 4 holes. It's not an absolute, but it's a general rule of thumb. What's nice about this thicker weather stripping, if you were to use it that way, is it would be very conducive to mitering this. So at the top of your jambs and the header, you could make a nice miter between your material to be able to get that to seal very well. So that's one reason that I like this thicker material. And again, if it's going to be an astragal, I wouldn't apply it as a split astragal. I'd look for a different insert. But if it was a single piece and you were going to have it seal up against the face, I think you'd be pretty effective with that. So you might have success there. Let's switch to the screen view where we can take a look at some supporting documentation for the 133 and discover what N means and what the A means as well. Okay, so this is indeed the item that we are looking at here, and it's listed in the site in lots of different lengths. Perimeter seal with closed cell sponge neoprene. I would know that as open cell. We'll leave it because that closed is coming out of the product brochure, certainly. The insert is sponge neoprene in a black finish, synthetic rubber polymer blend, polychloroprene and EPDM. I can't speak as an expert in terms of that base material, but the factory lists what that material is made of so that you can be aware of any sort of potential incompatibilities with what you might be applying to the doors and frames, or how it might affect the environment in which it's installed. Very good abrasion resistance, tensile strength, and memory. Flame resistant, moisture resistant. Good resistance to ozone, sunlight, and aging. Yes, a higher quality insert will be less affected by ultraviolet. You'll want to avoid vinyl if you want the best or a better caliber gasketing, which I can't imagine you wouldn't. So, product brochure, let's take a look at that. We do a find function for 133, and we'll get to where we can find our 133, and you'll see it's acoustically rated. That's what that little symbol there means, which would be defined in the catalog, which I'll direct you to as well. So the N is neoprene. The A is a mill aluminum finish, and that's what we are dealing with here. The B would be a brass or a gold anodized, and then a DKB is a dark bronze anodized for the 133. The important thing is, on this page, you'll find all of the other sponge-type neoprene inserts, different shapes of the extrusion, different shapes of the neoprene itself that will work towards your overall goals. Be mindful that that thicker material projects into the opening, and you don't want to get into trouble with unintentionally reducing your clear opening. So if we have a door, and it's very common nowadays to have schools with STC rated material, or some sort of sound gasketing. Well, as you may know, you have to maintain a clear opening width of 34 inch to be handicap compliant. Well, if this is a 3-foot door, okay, you're going to be compliant, most likely, because the stop projection is going to be 5/8. Okay, so 36 minus 1.25 inches, which is 5/8 times 2. Well, okay, that's going to be 34 3/4. You're good. That's the dimension from here to here. Well, you slap on a piece of gasketing on here. Okay, now you've got a problem. So whatever you put on here needs to be less than 3/8, for sure, less than 3/8. Technically, with technically including the head of the screw as well. So you're going to need to be quite mindful exactly how much material you're going to slap on there. And what I don't like is that they're not giving us the overall thickness they ought to be. So you'd want to be looking at material that would be quite thin. So be mindful of that. Now, that link here to the manufacturer's page, when you click that, it will pull up the manufacturer's page within our site that will allow you to review not only all of the National Guard products we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the product catalog. And when we fire that product catalog up, we can do that find function for 133 NA, and we're going to get to this. We're going to get to the area where we can locate the 133. But as you scroll through, you'll see that part number show up, and it does show up in some STC rated single door assemblies. So be mindful. They've got material that can hit an STC of 40 or 39, depending on, obviously being operable. That 133N qualifies for an STC rating of 39. So that's why you'll see it in interior applications, not just exterior weather stripping, because they want to attenuate the sound. It's a classroom in a school, let's say. But then again, be mindful. Don't let yourself get in trouble with this. As we continue to scroll through, you'll get to the perimeter gasketing section in the catalog where you can scroll up and down and look at other items. So the manufacturer's catalog is quite helpful in the regard of just looking at other solutions. And every product that you see here is going to be suited for a particular application better than some other product for whatever the requirement is. Why would this concealed fastener be better than the 133 NA? I don't know that it would be better. Unless, of course, your specification was concealed fasteners, then it would be better. You get the drift. Talking about split astragals, this was what I was talking about. Okay, this might be silicone. don't see it listed here what this is made of. It's probably vinyl. In absence of having a letter there, I would tend to think that it's going to be vinyl. Correction, it's going to be silicone. They don't offer it because they're only showing bristle and then the silicone product. So that's going to be silicone. Very exceptional for a split astragal. There's silicone, there's neoprene, there's vinyl, there's pile, there's bristle. All of them have their strong suits in a particular area that performs the others. And you can research that. Stainless steel, etc. So lots of fun things. Let's move back to the camera view and wrap up this video. Now, if you have need for a special length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field the net length that you'd like for us to cut this material back to. And the reasoning is, well, it'll save you the trouble of cutting it. Plus, it's going to allow you to have a really nice factory edge on the edge of that material. However, if you're going to miter it, I would think that you wouldn't want us to cut it. And in fact, you might want to order it a little bit longer. So order the next longest piece, indicate in the comment field the net length that you would like, and that's how we'll ship it out. This would be very effective in a window application as well. It's a little bit larger. It might even serve very well as acting as a weather seal and a stop. Perhaps that might work for you as well. So talking about ordering the material in longer lengths, again, indicate in the comment field. It'll give you that clean edge, but also it'll give you that slotted hole at the proper distance from the edge and the proper center to center as well. And you'll want the original slotted holes because it's weather stripping. If that door is not thoroughly true, plumb, level, and square, when you close that door, you might need to move that gasketing over a little bit to contend with that. And having a slotted hole is really nice because that's how they'll provide it from the factory. So be mindful that that would be to your advantage. And then to add on to the tail end of that, you know, it's hard to drill a slotted hole whether you're drilling through steel or bronze or stainless or fiberglass or wood. That drill bit has a tendency to walk a little bit. And with gasketing, you really want to be able to tailor that. If you've got a fire-rated door and you apply gasketing to it, and the gasketing prevents you from latching, you no longer have a fire-rated door. Anyway, those slotted holes will help adjust for that. Speaking of those holes, screws would be included to get that material fastened. Below this video as well is a link to the product brochure, which we went over, but also the installation instructions, which basically say measure, cut to length, attach. So not a lot of elaborating going on with the factory telling us how to install the material, but it's pretty self-explanatory. And when you get down to a position where you've tried to install the material and you find that it doesn't work exactly the right way, you generally realize why, and then you adjust. The name National Guard is quite synonymous with gasketing, weather stripping products, thresholds, sweeps, door bottoms, perimeter gasketing. But they have more than that. They have some new material, relatively new. They have floodgates or flood barriers. If you have windows or doors, they have a couple of, it's a simple system where there are some channels that are applied to the jamb, and you slide a big piece of aluminum down in there. In this world of rapidly changing environmental weather conditions, having flood barriers on doors, especially in those low-lying areas, may not make your area waterproof, but it will sure help mitigate a rush of water coming in. Very nice to have that material in place, especially when the domicile is not occupied. No one's there checking on it. Anyway, that link to the catalog will get you there. People at National Guard are super nice, super helpful, very eager, and they behave as if they are part of the partnership of problem solving in the group for that material, whatever the project is. Any questions on the 133NA gasketing or any other National Guard product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.